we get in areas of life, and I learned that Mom had more than anybody else I knew. She had forgiving grace. Because she could beat me, and 5 minutes later she's hugging me. She had forgiving grace.
I agree that.
I thought maybe, I'm crying, I'm dying. And yet Mom's hugging me. She's feeling sorry for me. She had forgiving grace. Now, we wasn't that way. We didn't have forgiving grace. Have you ever been there? You ever been there?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all getting mighty quiet. You must be guilty. And I learned something else, too. I learned that this was practiced daily.
Yes.
It was a daily thing.
Yes.
I mean, Mom had us on video. And what happened is, the video was my brother. He was always a tattler. He'd go in. He done so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned. I went out, and Mom told me, she said, get me a big long switch, because your brother's out of order. Well, I go get the biggest one I can find, and because I was laughing at him,
You got it too.
I got it first. See, and I should have learned, got a little king switch, a little small one, but I didn't. I got a big one that would hurt, because I want to see my brother suffer. But we see all these things, and then when we grow up, we got to learn, we got to do these same attributes.
That's right.
We got to become the person in charge. We got to be the one that's there doing those things. We got to be the one that raises up and do great and mighty things. But I also learned something else. Mom taught me the principle of life. She taught me when to sit down, when to be quiet, when to stand up, when to turn grace. And we all need that, because our world today is running rapid today. They have forgotten about manners. They have forgotten about respect. They've lost respect for others.
Yes.
And we was raised in respect in the house.
That's right.
And there's many things, the principle of life, we had to learn many things. But I learned also that these things were ordained by prayer. Because when Mom said, I'm going to get you, I learned to pray. Even though my prayer may have been in vain, but I was praying, Lord, help me, help me. She's going to kill me. So, also, Mom had to pray too, because sometimes she had to chase me. She needed strength. She needed energy. She needed to be able to catch me. So prayer come into the picture a lot of times there. Sometimes we'd pray for understanding. Sometimes we'd get in areas and we'd pray for a lot of things. And I know we go through areas of life and we forget about, Mom has a full-time job. She's busy all the time. And we look at her as just another vessel. But it's behind closed doors. There's the obligation of, if she's holding a full-time job, along with coming home, taking care of the household, taking care of the stiff-necked children, and cooking supper, and many attributes. And sometimes, I wouldn't think, I think that it wouldn't hurt the man to go in and say, honey, sit down, take it easy, I'm cooking tonight.
Amen.
I can't cook.
Or it's all right, I can use that broom.
That's right. There you go.
I can do all of it.
See,
no.
if you let the mom leave the house for a couple of days, you'll begin to find out things in the refrigerator is getting gone.
Mm-hmm.
Food's running out. Floor's dirty. Is mom the only worker in the house? You think about that sometimes. But we get in a lot of errors, and you'll be amazed at how many vessels depend. Have you ever depended on mom?
Oh, yeah.
I still do. Yes.
See, mom, she was our barber. She kept our hair cut. If we had a problem, she was the doctor. She was the corrector. She was the food pantry. She was everything. Whatever we needed, she had it. And my mom was so good. She even had a pocketbook, and her pocketbook was huge. She could fix a car out of her pocketbook.
Probably felt like bricks too. Probably felt like some bricks too.
And if you ever sent her a bill or a done, it was in that pocketbook. She had everything. Whatever you needed, she had it in that pocketbook.
That's right.
You just had to give her a minute to find it.
Amen.
As long as she's not driving down the road doing it.
It made me think of that. They showed on the One-Eyed Monster, this young lady was, man, trying to take her pocketbook, and she just started screaming. The guy's running down the road with her pocketbook. And this 90-year-old woman, he tried to get her pocketbook, and she almost beat the man to death with it.
Don't you touch
She
that
was
pocketbook.
knocking him both ways. And I'm like, now that's a woman right there.
Don't mess with Brady.
She took that pocketbook and she was beating that man, and he finally let go and run.
I was gonna say that sounds like Tracy, but I don't think that they would get away from her. She just, yeah, they couldn't pick it up to run. Couldn't pick it up to run.
But there's a lot of things I think about these things because we go through growing grace, and I've seen a lot of times that things that God would intervene and give her words of wisdom, and she would give us words of wisdom, and we wouldn't hearken.
No, that's true.
There's many times then back under the old covenant, we had old chunk burner, and you chunk some wood in there, and it heat the whole house. And you never did go up to mom and say, I don't feel good today, I'm sick, I'm not going to. You had an excuse to lay out of school. But see, I know the mark of the beast is coming, it's going to be called 666, but mom had 666 then, it's called black drop. It's a cough syrup. If you missed school, you got black drop. If you wasn't sick, you was sick when you got through. And they call it the 3 6s. And that stuff was nasty. So we learned not to ever say we're sick not going to school. We learned that. That come through growing grace. A lot of growing there. But you know, sometimes we get in errors of saying, understand if mom is after you with a switch, who's praying?
I better not know
Yes.
she is, because I'd be.
She is too.
Pretty much she is. But see, it goes with the show, and it goes with teaching.
Yes, it does.
And there's many things that we've got to do. We have to learn to eat.
Yep.
We have to learn to cook. Mom taught us a lot of things. When I was growing up, I learned to sew. I can, if my clothes get tore up, I can sew them back together. I can hand sew it, or I can use the sewing machine.
Well, that's good.
And I can iron my clothes. I'm not afraid of iron. But there's some men, they've never been there.
Yeah.
My mom taught me all these things.
Right. So you can
And
take care of yourself.
she taught me many special things. She even taught me how to dress. You know, have you ever dressed uncoordinated?
I do that every day.
Don't come to my house.
I do that every day.
Search for matching socks.
No, that's the style.
She
I just find
even
I just
said,
find the
if you
mixed
want
match
to eat,
ones.
you got to work. That's what the Lord told me. He said, son, you hungry? I said, yea, Lord. He said, get a job. So he taught me that you got to work. Earn your living.
Yes.
And then I learned sitting at the table to keep my mouth. I learned that. You ever learned anything like that?
Oh, yeah.
Or was your mom like that?
Just learn not to sit in the middle middle, wherever all the bad child's in the other end, and you get to switch too.
You got to eat biscuits before they ever got cooked, didn't you?
Learn not to put my elbow on the table.
That's true.
She's making that dough and child mouthing off and gets her fresh biscuit.
Ew. Okay. Ew. That's making me sick. No. Ugh.
Now, see, if we did that kind of thing today in our world, they'd have us up for courtroom.
Yeah,
That is true.
that's true.
Would be neglect.
But because, under the old covenant, we didn't have children acting crazy like they do
No, we
today.
didn't.
That's true.
You're the ones in the courtroom, Barbara ain't never had any children.
And then there've been times now, this is one thing I always thought about. We went to church.
Mm-hmm.
And our duty was, if you live in my house, you going to church.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, when we went to church, my mom, she's up here, she's playing the piano. And the piano's facing the wall over there. She can't see out there. So she gave all the ladies in the church privilege to watch me.
Oh, that don't sound too good.
If I'm out of order, she gave them privilege to switch me.
Bet you didn't act up much.
I've even had the ladies of the church come in and sit down beside me. You won't move now, boy.
Well.
And then I've been even had a chance to find out that grandma wasn't no angel either. Because I'd go over and grandma, she wouldn't have to speak but once. But I learned one thing. My grandma was a good cook. I guess that's why her husband stayed around. She was a good cook. But grandma, she had the privilege to help mom many ways. Many ways. Sometimes mom say, I can't do nothing with that kid. You get him. You ever been there?
Yes.
She would help restore. Sometimes she'd have to call grandpa. But see, I learned this, and I know you have too, in growing grace with mom. You had to learn many things. You learn to remain faithful. If you tell mom you're going to be there at a certain time, you better be there.
That's right.
You got to learn and remain obedient.
That's right.
It's a growing grace, and that's what you want to teach your kids too as you're growing up today. It's a growing.
Yes.
We learn that even in the middle of testing, you ever been through testing? They'd say, I'm just going to test you and see what you're going to do. And they give you a little bit of leeway, and you mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times we go through areas of life, and I've even watched times that mom had to struggle to keep unity. The reason she had to struggle to keep unity because she just got through slapping one child around and hugging another child, and it starts a war in the family. Well, you got favor on him.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like Judy. She could slap her sister, and her mom would give her sister the whooping.
Move on, preacher.
See, that brings jealousy. It will bring jealousy.
That is true, though.
See, God knows. Sometimes it's, oh no. It's called complete distancing. You're going to have to stay away. You know to stand at least 5 feet away from mom. So that switch won't reach, her hand won't reach. And if you're going to do any mouthing, you do it when you're 6 feet away.
You can't reach me.
I've seen moments that mom was angry. Have you ever seen your mom angry?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen her so angry I thought maybe I was just looking at the top of her head. And everybody's like, why are you looking at her head? I'm thinking horns is gonna come out of there.
Well,
Cause she was angry.
yeah.
She had a reason to be. The children provoked her. You ever been there?
Yeah.
God knows He's good.
Yes, he is.
But I've learned something to stay calm in the middle of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Stay calm. You got to keep yourself relaxed and calm, knowing it's going to be okay. It'll be over in 5 minutes. Because the more you holler, the more you kick, the more you scream, the more you're going to get. So if you stay calm, it'll just be short and sweet. There's times that I want to say, peace, be still.
Yeah.
Speak to that storm.
She better back off. Oh, please, just back off. Oh, Jesus.
I look at things like, I wonder if man or children ever realize the medicines that moms had to give for her duties. The many times, the many sacrifices. I think about all these things. And I already know that it's sort of like this. Do you remember the moments and the memories of the medicines you took? The training you went through? The grace you had to go face? Tell us about it. Tell us of a memory.
I remember going to my grandma's house, and I always wore a baseball cap. And she said that if you wore your cap to the table, she would slap it off your head. Well, I walked in and be bopping along with my baseball cap on. Next thing I know, I'm taking my baseball cap and my teeth up. Like I did what she told me not to do.
She corrected you, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. She corrected me.
I did something when I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. No, I was probably smaller than that. I was 7 or 8, and my mom said something to me, and I had a smart mouth back to her. And she had this paddle that was in her kitchen, and it was an Advil paddle. It said Advil on it, it said Aleve on it. Like literally, she ordered Aleve, and it came with this paddle that was this big. I mean, that is so weird. Who orders Aleve and it comes with the Aleve paddle? And look, thank you. She's whooping me with this Aleve paddle, and I said, "This is not alleviating pain. This is hurting." I said, "That is wrong. They sent out a paddle with Aleve on it. It's not helping me."
You'll need a lead after the.
I will, because that was not helping. But yeah, she popped me across my bottom with that Aleve paddle, and I was like, "Oh, that hurt. That didn't help my pain." So yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Nobody buy the Aleve paddles anymore. I'm just letting y'all know that. Don't help.
Back when I was probably about 10 or 11, I was
Not
always
funny.
instigating getting my little brother in trouble because I like getting a beat. But anyway, we'll see what it is. We was always told never to leave the yard because my mama was very territorial and she didn't like us associating with anybody unless she was there. She was always worried about us. So we heard these kittens on the other side of the hill over there in Anderson Circle. Well, how many of y'all know about that place? So we wanted to find out where the cats were at. And I said, well, the only way we're going to be able to do this, Philip, is we're going to have to go over the hill. And he says, you know what's going to happen if we go over that hill? I said, but if we go over that hill and she doesn't know it, we'll go get the cats and get back over here before she knows what hits us. We get over there. By the time we reach up to get the first cat out of the tree, we heard Mom holler, Nancy! Philip! I said, shh, shh, shh. Don't say we go to the house and get ready to get there, get ready to eat and everything, we walk in the door, we didn't see nobody, we thought we had it clear. As soon as we walked past that door, that hickory hit the back of my legs. That one mama was sneaky, she got me good. So don't ever think you're gonna play anything on your mama, she
That's
got
right.
me, she did.
They always know.
Yes, they do.
Oh,
It's like I call my mom a mind reader.
I was good
Did
growing
something
up.
before you even
Like,
did it.
That was bad.
I was honestly, I didn't talk back.
I was pretty
my
good,
thing
but I
with
had
my
my
mom
times.
is she'd get so mad because we'd be taking the bowls and spoons outside playing in the mud, in the dirt, because we couldn't leave the yard either.
right.
And she starts screaming every time she's looking for a bowl or spoon.
I was pretty good too. I was pretty good too, but I had my moments.
I
But
was
I was a
bad.
good kid.
I was horrible.
I was pretty good, but
I
I
was
had my moments.
bad. I used to take, I experimented with smoking cigarettes. And I got our dad's, cigarettes out. And me and my brother, which is a year younger, we went into the backyard, was smoking the cigarette, got all it made us almost sick.
Yep.
And then Mama, soon as we walked in the door, she had that pack of cigarettes and she made us eat them cigarettes.
I bet you never did that again.
We were so sick. Me and my brother were so
Must
sick.
have been before me, I don't remember.
Yeah. I was about 8. Well, you were about 2. But yeah, she made us eat them cigarettes. But then we got so sick, and I remember how she just loved on us, and tried to make us better afterwards, and she showed grace, and love. She just needed us to know that that was wrong and not to ever touch them again. And we did not until I got older, a little bit older. But, yeah. So she gave me grace afterwards.
Well, I never got in
I was
trouble.
bad.
I'm the oldest of my siblings, and my mother told me I needed to set an example for them. And I started cooking when I was in the 2nd grade. I learned to make homemade biscuits and everything. I stayed in the kitchen and I cleaned house and all. Even when I come home from school during high school, and I'd go down to my cousin's house, I wouldn't be down there 3 minutes. She'd call me, come home, help cook dinner. I'd come home, help cook dinner. We scrubbed floors, we scrubbed walls, we did all this. That was what I did during my summertime. I didn't get to go out and play and visit friends. I had housework and all I had to do. And my siblings, during fall time, they'd argue with Johnny's not doing this, and Tommy's not doing this, and Tracy's not doing this. And she would say, Mary, I knew exactly what she wanted. I had to go outside and rake up the leaves and bag them, And I knew that's what I was supposed to do, because she told me when I was young, I had to set that good example for them. And then till I got about 16 years old, then I think I talked back to her one time. And she didn't whip me, but she took my phone privileges away from me. Oh, that hurt me so bad. Oh my! I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't talk on the phone, But that's about it. I was a good child because they told me I had to set an example for my siblings. Now what happened to them, I don't know, because they were getting whippings several times a day, and I was trying to be that good example, but they didn't want to heed to it, so.
It's got a lot to do with growing up. We all have to grow up.
Amen.
I was just terrible. The only memory I got, as I told him last night, is when she's cooking and then she puts something in the bowl and you go try to stick your hand in it. And that wooden spoon come across your hand and leave a little print of the wooden spoon. Hurts.
You learn to keep your hand out of the food.
Amen.
I
Not
still
at
know
least
that.
until.
I still do it.
Yeah.
Did you ever try to get the last piece of chicken?
Yeah. I take it and run off.
Take it, run.
I didn't attempt that, that was his job.
Uncle Mike got the last piece.
Mama was really a really good mom. She just didn't like us disobeying, and we didn't a lot except for Marcus. But anyway, Marcus was
That
bad.
was good, man.
Yeah.
You just wanted all the
Yeah,
food.
I think me, Philip, and Marcus gave my mom a run for her money, but out of all three of us, them two boys was a mess.
Yeah.
They gave my mom and daddy some gray hairs before it was time.
I'm sure that, you know, it's sort of like Jesus, he chose 12 disciples and one of them was the devil.
That is true.
None of my kids were a devil, but I'll tell you what, these kids, oh, they loved it when I was in the kitchen because they'd be coming in there. That's my icing. They'd lick it up.
That's
If
true.
I'm doing cookies, they'd steal 3 or 4 at a time.
Only sometimes.
Guilty.
Or you go off and
Guilty as
come back and they're like, you got candy, didn't you? No, let me
No, I
see.
had cookies.
You got candy.
And growing up, you learn to share.
Yes.
Because
Yeah, Logan.
there wasn't a lot of money floating around.
Yeah, we know.
You share Coca-Cola, a candy bar, or something like that.
That's
No, my
right.
family was
Logan's
low-key
still
dog.
working on that. We don't care.
I remember, I remember lots of stuff, but, my mama, she always told us, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
But me and my sister,
Which one?
you know, we were little and we were out of school. And, mama kept us home in the yard and, stuff like that, so, you know, 8 kids in the house is not a lot of toys and stuff, cause it didn't last from Christmas to Christmas.
Yeah.
But, I don't know who started it, but, mama was in the kitchen and me and my sister somehow got into a water fight. I had a cup of water or something and, you know, felt good really. And, we just started having us a water fight on our front porch. And, but to get the water, we'd have to go all the way back to the kitchen, to the sink. And mama said, "What y'all doing?" And she, we're having a water fight, you know. Cause we'd be soaked and you go back for some more water. And she just, you know, cause you know, it was kinda hot summer. And she said, "Y'all be careful now, don't get up," you know, cause we had water from the kitchen all the way to the front. Well, me, I always have to have the last word.
Oh, what'd you say?
They missed me for a few minutes. Mama, you know, still in the kitchen. I come through the back door, which, that's the kitchen. I had the hose.
Oh, you were bad.
I had the hose from the backyard.
Oh no.
And, needless to say, my mama got wet too.
Oh!
But she stood there and she said, "Get that hose out of the house." I mean, we were soaked by then, but by then the kitchen floor was wet. But when I brought that hose in there, needless to say, my mama got wet, everything got wet. And all she could do was just say, "Get the hose out of the house," and stand there laughing at us. 'Cause we were all so big.
That's hilarious. I would love to see that. That's funny.
Jen,
You had a cool
No,
mom.
she just hollered, "Get that hose out of the house."
Yeah, my mom wouldn't have
And I'm
said
sure
that.
you spent the weekend.
My mom
It was
wouldn't have said
okay
that.
as long as we
My
had
mom
the
wouldn't
cup,
have
but
taught
when I
me.
got the hose, then mom was like, "Okay, y'all, that's enough." That's enough.
You know what, one of my greatest memories was with my mom, was after we came home on Sundays after church. And she would let every one of my friends from church come over and hang out after church on Sundays. And you'd see them just passed out on the floor, I forgot they're playing a little bit of ball or something after church. And everybody be laying on the floor, either just resting, talking and laughing, and then we'd get up and go back to church that night. That was one of the greatest memories. My mama always enjoyed her having her friends over.
Our house was a community house. All the neighborhood kids stayed down at our house all the time, you know. Even when they got to be teenagers, they still come and hung out at our house, you know. It's just, the doors are always open. They didn't knock on the door, nothing. They just come in like they lived there, that's how we lived, you know? We didn't have to lock our doors or nothing, you know, you're welcome, you don't have to, there's so-and-so here, and they'd just come in and they'd say, hey, Miss Mice, how are you doing? And Mom would ask them if they want something to eat or something to drink, you know, just, it was anybody. It was an open house.
I think about Mom had prescriptions that she would prescribe that would cure my attitude.
Yep.
You know, and I knew that it was very good.
Amen.
But to get technical, growing up, that when you're a child and you get in trouble, you always think Mom has the answer.
That's true.
Yes.
And when you get in trouble, you run to Mom. You're looking for an answer. And it's like Mom always had the right answer. And sometimes it's just that word of wisdom. It's just saying it's going to be okay, or you hit your hand and they kiss it or something. It just seems to make it wail.
Yeah.
And everything just, it's like she always had the right answer. And many times I think about all these things, you know, we're going through the growing grace, and many times we get in areas where we're running forth in the land and we're having a good time. But I also learned that if you didn't keep your mouth and you didn't keep your body under subjection, you would get in quarantine.
Right.
That means you was confined to your room. You couldn't have no friends. You didn't get on-time supper. There's a lot of things that you missed because you was quarantined. You ever had to stand in the corner? I saw school teachers make
In
children
school?
stand in the corner.
Yeah. So did. Had a little hand too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we used to get that at school.
And I always thought, like, okay, why does a teacher do that? Come find out, Mom gave them permission.
Yeah.
You know, I know what he acts like at home, so,
Yeah.
you know, you got permission. Just don't kill him, you know.
Yeah.
Got a lot of snotty noses on the wall.
But also learn too that we went through eras that we knew that we got in a place that there was times that we had to have a spiritual understanding. We had to learn that Mom ain't always right, but Mom is always Mom. So we had to learn and have an understanding, because at the moment that we was in growing up as a youngster, Mom was our assurance.